Total Tarboro domination in ice-cold Kannapolis tonight. The Viking defense slams the door on the powerful Wonder attack. Undefeated Kannapolis does not gain a first down in the game. Tarboro jumps on top early. Darren Bryan to James Brown, 30 yards in the score, 7-0 Vikings. In the third quarter, Ricky Dozier dives in for his 31st touchdown of the year to make it 14-0 Tarboro. And moments later, Bryan goes deep again. Donald Frank on the receiving end, 20-0 Vikings, and the Kannapolis cannon is quiet for the first time in years.
It was just a great defensive effort, and the offense played good too at times. And, you know, a championship game like this, you don't expect to shut somebody out, but I couldn't be prouder of those kids.
The Vikings are the 3A state champions. Tarboro 20, Kannapolis nothing. In Kannapolis, Jay Jennings, Action Sports 5.
Strong season squared off at Northwest Cabarrus, but this was a night for the visiting wonders from Kannapolis. Looking good right here. Wayne Martin goes the long way, 11 yards, and that made it 28-0 at the half. And there is a true little wonder right there. I think this kid's like flying to Philadelphia here pretty quick. Lamont Johnson, big night, 4 of 5, 161 yards. This one to Bernice Hunter. Kannapolis wins it 47-0.
Statesville tonight. The Wonders from Kannapolis, and you can count on them always being strong, against CA5's Greyhounds. And Brett, you and I were there, and you had the vantage point up on top. How'd it look?
I tell you, saw some great defense out there from both teams tonight. Statesville's home opener tonight, but they fell behind in this ball game. Kannapolis' Wayne Martin goes wide, 7 yards. They take a 6-0 lead. Let's go to the third quarter. 9-0 now. Kannapolis. Russell Hayden, boom, breaks 2 tacklers right there, and he is gone 75 yards. And it looked like the Greyhounds had the momentum going here as they cut it to 9-7. But then that Kannapolis defense was the difference. Donnell Chambers' pass picked off by Reuben Wells. He returns it all 33 yards. Kannapolis wins it 16-7. Two great defenses should go a long way this year.
We'll see both these teams in the playoffs. At Kannapolis, A.O. Brown. The kids were excited because the fourth play of the game, Brown's touchdown pass to Reggie Wells to make it 6-0 off the arm of Maurice Blakeney, who also tossed 3 interceptions tonight, and that really hurt. Now, for Statesville, a 64-yard pass play. Now, watch this. This is a little ad-lib play here. Donnell Chambers was 7 of 16 for 178 yards to Chad McCall, who had a pair of TDs, and suddenly it was Statesville up 13-6. Now I want to show you a touchdown. This did only cut into the margin some. This is a long touchdown. Reggie Wells again. Look at this catch. Wells on the catch of the year so far. Statesville 29-13. Mooresville shutting out Northwest Cabarrus 12.
Central Cabarrus rising to the A.L. Brown Wonders in K-Town. When you talk rivalries around these parts, Central Cabarrus and A.L. Brown should definitely be a part of the conversation. About 10,000 fans in Kannapolis tonight, and they were well rewarded for coming out. Both teams scored in their first possession. This 1-yard touchdown run by Michael Barnes tied the score at 7 for A.L. Brown. Both defenses would settle down though in the first half, and it was a 10-7 A.L. Brown halftime lead. Down 17-7 in the third quarter. Central Cabarrus struck with the bomb. They tried leads up the middle on 4th and 1 for the touchdown. But the night belonged to A.L. Brown. On the very next possession, Brad Carter up the middle, 17-yard touchdown, and the Wonders held on to win a thriller tonight, 24-19. Atlanta Little for football Friday night.
6-0, they were idle tonight. Okay, big battle for the bell. You know what it is, the annual rivalry between A.L. Brown and Concord. Carl Lipscomb goes 60 yards. Look at him run as Brown and Coach Bruce Harden on top of this one, 7-0 early, as this one is always big. 10,000 people on hand to watch this contest. Fred Carter, 9-yard run. The Wonders up 14-7, but Concord, they would come back, make it interesting, as they always do. Jimmy Hitchcock, 55-yard pass play to Antonio Leach. The final, though, A.L. Brown wins it by 2, 16-14. Both these teams, though, headed to the playoff. As well as Central.
AL Brown's own version of the Bleacher Bums got a bird's eye view tonight as they watch their Wonders take a 14-0 lead in the first half thanks to Maurice Blakely. 2 TDs passing, this one a 35-yard strike to Darrell Allison. AL Brown's defense was also sky high. Look at this jolting hit by senior Edward Walker. South Iredale would storm back in the second half, though, down 14-6. Tyrone Garner came storming in to block this punt. Marcus Moore recovered for the touchdown, but the Vikings would fail to convert the 2-point conversion, and A.L. Brown led by 2 late. South Iredale had a chance to go ahead, but this field goal went astray, and A.L. Brown went on to win 21-12. Delano Little, WBTV Sports, for Football Friday Night.
34 yards, 15 carries, though. Hey, hold your head high. Great season, though, for Central Quebec.
Absolutely. Now, Statesville will play this team, the Wonders of A.L. Brown. We're at home tonight hosting Lexington, the team that beat Concord last week. Maurice Blakeney goes on top to a wide-open Mike Morgan for an early touchdown. 6-0. Bruce Harden and his team playing well again in the playoffs. In the third quarter, the Wonders spread Carter. Watch this long run. Carter's got it, but watch what happens. Boop, there goes the ball, but look who there's to pick it up. Darrell Allison, Kannapolis. Yeah, and you got to wonder who's behind the mask. Kannapolis wins at 22-7.
Talk about 3A. A huge game tonight. The A.L. Brown Wonders at home against the previously unbeaten Statesville Greyhounds. And our Delano Little has highlights from K-Town.
Statesville had already beaten A.L. Brown earlier in the season rather impressively, so Coach Bruce Harden knew he would have his hands full. But the Wonders made it look easy on their second possession, driving 60 yards, capped off by this Maurice Blakely quarterback sneak. Maurice Blakely played most of the game on an injured ankle, but you could hardly tell it. This fine run set up A.L. Brown's second touchdown as they would go up 14-0. Statesville would finally get on the board just before the half ended as they faked out the entire A.L. Brown defense on the reverse. Ryan Howell would go in for the score. The second half began with some very hard hitting. Tim Brown, a nice lick here on Scott Jordan. But A.L. Brown's defense was most impressive, holding Statesville to only 6 first downs. Meanwhile, the offense cashed in. Maurice Blakely to Reggie Wells for the touchdown, and A.L. Brown went on to win 30-7 in a mild upset. Delano Little, WBTV Sports, for Football Friday Night.
Hosting a great rivalry, and it's South Row Inn. There's the sign, home of the 1989 3A champions. Look at the Wonders here as they go to work. Maurice Blakely, folks, he's one of the finest quarterbacks in the state, and he can throw it, he can air it out at any time. 39 yards right here. He's coming back this time. Now look at this. The quarterback looks upfield. Somebody help me. Somebody move. Somebody run. He says, I think I see a green jersey. It's Zra Lipscomb in the end zone. Oh, yes. And Brady's got it for the touchdown. And Brown, they're going to be strong again this year. 42-0 was the final score.
42 yards rushing, 47 yards receiving, really balanced it out. 34-0, the final score.
And guess who they play next week? A.L. Brown, a rematch. Statesville won the first one. A.L. Brown looking for revenge. Wonders quarterback as they were on the road in Lexington tonight. That's Maurice Blakely giving it to Michael Barnes. Barnes with 109 yards rushing, 421 yards total offense for the Wonders tonight. Jackets got this nice gallop for a score. Oh, Antonio Houston going to make it 9-7 to cut it close. But on the next drive, A.L. Brown intercepts. Raymond Lewis is there to pick off the underthrown pass by Blakeney as Lexington goes ahead 13-9 as they would miss the extra point. By the way, that's an 86-yard interception return. But A.L. Brown retakes the lead on their next drive. Freddie Carter. Yard dive. They really grounded out as Kannapolis came from behind to beat Lexington tonight 16-13 as the final score. Excuse me, I said it wrong. 35-19, the final score right there.
When these two teams get together, it's always a good one. Statesville and Kannapolis, two of the best 3A programs in the state, year in and year out. A huge crowd in Kannapolis tonight, as usual, and they saw a good ball game, and they saw their Wonders take a 14-6 lead in the second quarter. Andy Smith on the beautiful touchdown pass to Mario Douglas. The Wonders on top 14-6 at this point. Coach Bruce Harden congratulating his boys on the sideline, but Statesville came right back. Quarterback Aaron Peel puts it up. It's deflected, but Torrey Harrison, he really has a nose for the ball, and he brings that one in. And Harrison would figure big on this next play. Peel tries to take it in. He fumbles, but it's recovered in the end zone by Statesville, and guess who covers it? Number 22, Torrey Harrison. But Statesville missed the point after once again, and Kannapolis still led it 14-12 at the half. In the third quarter, Statesville took the lead. The big play, Peels pass to Chad McCall. McCall bouncing off tacklers for the big gain. That would lead to a Greyhound touchdown and a 19-14 Statesville lead. But late in the game, Kannapolis put together a long drive to pull the game out. 4th and 1 at the 7. Michael Barnes takes it in for the winning touchdown, and Statesville would Statesville would lose tonight, that is, to Kannapolis. The final, Kannapolis 22, Statesville 19. Standing room only crowd at Central Cabarrus tonight to see if the Vikings could knock A.L. Brown from the ranks of the unbeaten. But Brown and defensive lineman Robbie Lynn proved to be too much for Central Cabarrus. Lynn nailing Gary Crisco in the backfield here for a loss. A.L. Brown finally got their offense going late in the first half with a 2-minute drill executed perfectly. Keenan Lott on the big game there with a great stop by Central Cabarrus' Rayon Black. But with 6 seconds to go in the half, Tim Hyman kicked his second field goal for a 6-0 Wonder lead at the break. And the second half was totally dominated by A.L. Brown. Quarterback Andy Smith, he will pump fake to the corner, and then he hits Tony Scott on the slant pattern for a touchdown and a 13-0 lead for A.L. Brown. Then Central Cabarrus turned it over on their next possession. The pass is batted into the air, and watch number 2, Keenan Lott, come out of nowhere with a diving interception. Keenan Lott, one of the best all-around performers in the area. Brown coach Bruce Harden then decided to call Lott's number on offense. Andy Smith barking the signals. He will hand it off to Keenan Lott, and Lott goes 18 yards for another touchdown, and that would make the final A.L. Brown 20, Central Cabarrus nothing. Charlie Frederick for Football Friday Night.
And up hitting. Of course, it was wet as well. Bad footing sometimes, but some terrific hitting in the Concord-Kannapolis game. A.L. Brown came to visit Concord tonight, and Charlie Frederick has all the highlights.
Concord wanted a little revenge after last season's last play loss to A.L. Brown. Both teams looking to win the South Piedmont 3A and take the victory bell. Concord went to work quickly on their first possession. Ray Massey going 51 yards for a quick 7-0 lead. But Kannapolis came right back, tying the game at 7 on this 2-yard run by Michael Barnes. The second quarter, though, belonged to Concord. The Spiders got 2 long touchdown runs from Jay Graham, one of 25 yards. This one went 60 yards, and the Spiders led it 21-7 at halftime. Barnes getting congratulations from his teammates and Coach E.Z. Smith. But A.L. Brown cut their deficit back to just 7 in the third quarter. Michael Barnes once again breaking a long one. His second touchdown of the night, that made it 21-14. But Concord's defense came up with a big safety. The Spiders added another touchdown as well. And the final would read Concord 30, A.L. Brown 20. The Spiders win the South Piedmont 3A. Charlie Frederick for Football Friday Night in Concord.
No dilemma. Battle of the W's, the Wonders and the Wolves, as A.L. Brown came visiting Lincolnton tonight. Now watch Andy Smith. He's the quarterback, number 3 for the Wonders. A 74-yard touchdown tonight to Marlon Hall. Hey, he has beaten the DB there. The Wonders are up 7-0. But the Wolves would come back, the home team. They cap a long drive with a 25-yard pass. Dion Lynch to Mike McCatham. 7 all there, but A.L. Brown would win it 35-21. Visitors winning tonight. Elsewhere, Reggie Stroy has the game story.
A.L. Brown overcame a rash of penalties in the first half to take a 2-touchdown lead over their visitors from South Iredale. The running of Michael Barnes got the Wonders a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. Then it was Andy Smith going to Mario Douglas. Douglas beating his defender into the end zone.
and this would put Kannapolis up 14-0 at the break. The Kannapolis defense held South Iredale's Tyrone Westmoreland in check until the fourth quarter. That's when Westmoreland caught a pass in the flat and took it 50 yards for a touchdown, and this would cut Kannapolis' lead to 14-6. South Iredale back in the ball game, but Kannapolis responded quickly to put the game out of reach. Michael Barnes taking it 70 yards down the sideline. This would be the game breaker as A.L. Brown beats South Iredale 21-12. Charlie Frederick, WBTV Sports in Kannapolis.
And there you see the final score. A.L.
In the first inning this year, Concord controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
And it was that way in the first half. As Jay Graham gets in from 5 yards out, the Spiders led 7-0 at halftime. But in the second half, one big play turned it around. Keenan Lott takes the pitch, and he goes 60 yards down to the 1. That sets up the touchdown that tied it at 7. Early in the fourth quarter, the Wonders take the lead when Michael Barnes bowls in from 5. 3 minutes to go. The Spiders looking for overtime. Kenny Robinson picked off by Barry Lipscomb. One play later, it's Barnes up the middle and off to the races. 70 yards to the 2. The Wonders win it 21-7 and head to Chapel Hill for the second time in 3 years.
Isn't this something? It's just unbelievable. Great football team. Awfully proud of them. We challenged them and they worked hard, so glad to be there.
Brett McMillan, WSOC Channel 9 Sports in Concord.
That win over Concord last week have an effect on Kannapolis? I don't think it did, because Kannapolis came off and got off to an incredibly hot start. The Wonders got off to an explosive start when Keenan Lott went 31 yards for the touchdown just 2 plays into the game. Brown led it 7-0. The defense then forces the turnover. Tony Jones strips the ball. It's too hot for High Point to handle, and Robert Combs recovers inside the 30. The Wonders set to strike again. But then came the turning point. A misread on offense, and the wrong guy picked it off. Darius Brewington, fastest man in state, goes 86 yards for the touchdown, and suddenly it was tied at 7. But in the second quarter, Lott starts it off just like he did the first. Another 30-yard touchdown run. Kannapolis on top 14-7. But from then on, it was all Red Raiders. Once the pump fake by quarterback Sean Yu. There's Brewington again. He was the MVP of this game. That touchdown capped off 17 straight points. They led it 24-14 after 3. Kannapolis one chance in the fourth quarter, the only time they had the ball. They got stopped on 4th and 1 at the 3 with 8 minutes to play. And Andrews then ran out the clock the rest of the way and went on to win it 24-14.
We had a couple opportunities and we just fell short both times. So I think just the difference was we didn't take advantage of the opportunities we had.
The bottom line, Kannapolis really never had the ball on offense in the second half. Had it about 3 times for about 5 minutes. Also, Dean just stuck his head out the window. He said the game is Sunday, not Saturday, Harold.
Oh.
They get many balls in close games this year, including that tie against Hunter House. Right. Let's talk about North Rowan and the A.L. Brown Wonders. Conference unbeatens are John Planters as highlights.
Unbeaten, untied, and third-ranked A.L. Brown hosting undefeated North Rowan in Kannapolis tonight. Hey, do you wonder what's going to happen in this one? Let's tune in. A.L. Brown up a field goal midway through the first. Andy Smith rolls left and he finds Keenan Lott. Lott, a nice little move, moves it inside the 10, and he'll set up this sneak by Smith. And of course, the cannon sound. Inside 2 minutes to go in the half, Smith back to pass on his own 45. He's going deep. Jamel Aldrich of Rowan tips it, but Tony Scott, he grabs that ball and he's going to go all the way. 55 yards for the score. And Bruce Harden says, hey, I'll take that one. They go for the extra point try. It's up. It's long enough, but it hits the bar. No good. North Rowan's going to try to strike quick before the half. Carvick Kepley back to pass, going deep. And there's Keenan Lott for A.L. Brown. Lott's going to return the ball down inside the Rowan 45. He sets up a field goal, and Brown takes an 18-zip lead at the half. They ice it with 2 minutes, 11 seconds left in the third. Smith finds Lott. A nice little move. He rambles 20 yards into the end zone for the score. And A.L. Brown takes it 25-0. Their second shutout of the season. Can they move up to number 1? Tune in next week. John Flanders for Football Friday Night.
Number 3 in 3A, Bruce Harden's Wonders keep rolling on with a 25-0 win.
Concord was in possession of the coveted bell after last year's victory, and the Spiders looked to keep it early as star running back Jay Graham was a one-man wrecking crew. Graham led the Spiders to a touchdown on their opening possession, a possession that was capped by this touchdown by quarterback Kenny Robinson for a 7-0 lead. Kannapolis then put together their own long drive. Here was the key play. Quarterback Andy Smith to Brian Parks. Parks gets open, and then he runs deep into Concord territory. And watch Parks when he gets up. He's got grass stuck in his helmet. You know John Madden would love Brian Parks. Parks' play set up this touchdown by Keenan Lott early in the second quarter to tie the score at 7. Watch Lott's celebration with teammate Tony Scott. Then it was Concord's Jay Graham's turn once again. 35 yards up the middle, and Keenan Lott cannot pull down Graham from behind. The Spiders led at this point 13-7. This was a game in which the defenses seemed to be unable to stop the offenses, at least in the first half. Terrace Johnson putting the wonders of Coach Bruce Harden back up 14-13. But that wonder lead was short-lived. On the next play from scrimmage, it was Jay Graham again, 74 yards this time. In 2 plays, he ran for 2 consecutive touchdowns, and this gave the Spiders a 19-14 lead at halftime. In the third quarter, though, Kannapolis took the lead once again. Keenan Lott getting the handoff from Andy Smith and diving into the end zone for a 1-point A.L. Brown lead at 20-19. Then came what proved to be the big play of the night. On the kickoff after Lott's touchdown, Concord was unable to pick up the football. They fumbled it around, and Kannapolis recovered deep in Spider territory. That set up another touchdown from Keenan Lott. Keenan diving into the end zone, and that gave Kannapolis a 27-19 lead in the third quarter. And then the Kannapolis defense took over. Keenan Lott not only scored 2 touchdowns, he also had the hit of the night. That kind of play helped Kannapolis hold on to a 27-19 victory, and Brown finishes the regular season unbeaten. Charlie Frederick for Football Friday Night.
Now, Jay Graham finishes the season, regular season, 22 touchdowns and 1,700 yards. We take you up to K-Town, Kannapolis, taking on the East Lincoln Mustang. Hey, it's that Wonder Horse coming to see it. One of you caught, son. Dennis Foster, a 12-yard touchdown run, gives the Wonders a 14-0 lead. It was kind of that easy kind of night. Bruce Harden says, guys, just keep on blocking and tackling, and we'll get somewhere. Here's Andy Smith you're talking about. Look at this catch. Hey, Titus Thompson. Come on, Titus. What concentration. He sticks it in there, squeezes it in right on the shoulder pads. And did I tell you that it snowed in Kannapolis tonight, Joe? Yeah, the weather changed. It really did. Keenan Lott had a 75-yard punt return. He also scored first for A.L. Brown on a 55-yard touchdown run. Now look at this one. This shows you his power. Look at those legs wide apart. Makes the little skip move there, and he is gone. Assistant coaches say, come on, Keenan, take a breath of air right now. You deserve it. And just before half, it's KL once again, the KL special, a 10-yard touchdown run. Point after no good at half, 34-0. And we got to show you a great catch here. Hang with us here, because after half, here's the quarterback, Kenny Orbison, a junior, is going to hit Titus off his shoulder pad. Remember that before he had one on the shoulder pad? There's a real shoulder pad, John. Now watch Titus. Titus is going to, hey, yeah, oh, hey, I'm going to do that thing right there. The nice little dance, and the final reads 48-0. Brown continues to roll.
The Wonders of A.L. Brown hosting North Rowan in a state AAA semifinal matchup, protecting a 27-game home winning streak. For whom would the bell toll tonight? The Wonders would strike first, capping an 80-yard drive on a Torrance Johnson diving touchdown with 8:17 left in the first quarter. Torres would take it home, taking it deep, a home run. Rowan had to punt on their first possession, but the Cavs playing some tough deep. Andy Smith's pass bounces off Stacy Butler's hands and into the hands of Larry Ford, who grabs it and rambles 30-yard line. On 4th down now, Rowan looking for everything. Carvin Kepley to Larry Brown for the touchdown. And Brown says, hey, I can hit a home run too. And all of a sudden it's a tie ball game. That's the way it would end at the half. A scoreless 3rd quarter, late 4th quarter now. Rowan looking deep downfield for Ed Suber, but it's pass interference, ladies and gentlemen. A.L. Brown penalties would hurt them late. This play would set up a 4th and 6, 4:16 left. Seems like North Rowan's last chance. The pass picked off by Robbie Lynn, the big lineman, rambling and scrambling down inside the Rowan 30-yard line. But A.L. Brown would be unable to score. They would attempt a 47-yard field goal. Tim Hyman's kick up, long enough? No, not quite long enough. And we would go to overtime. The first play from scrimmage for North Rowan, and here he comes, Nathaniel Hyde, busting into the end zone for the touchdown. Slide it in there and shake it, baby. They would go for 2, and you know who they're going to give it to. Nathaniel Hyde busted in there for the 2-point conversion. A.L. Brown's going to take their turn. They're going to give it to Tars Johnson, and he's going to ramble and roll into the end zone for the touchdown. They need a 2-point conversion to tie the game. They're going to go to Johnson again, but North Rowan, Big T, stacks him up, and the Cavs win it.
I had to go for it. It's an obvious call. Anytime we get inside the 20, then Nathaniel Hyde carries the football.
And Rowan carrying it to state. John Flanders for football Friday night.
It is October 15th. Central Cabarrus are only now playing their first conference game. They took on the A.L. Brown Wonders. Kenya Bridges was crowned homecoming queen. The game was scoreless until the 3rd quarter. Central fumbled a punt. That led to Damian Jackson's field goal, a 3-0 lead for Central. But Bruce Harden got his Kannapolis team in gear. The Wonders' Tyrone Washington takes it all the way down right here to the Central Cabarrus 1-yard line. Watch him do a great job of staying in bounds. And that led to Kenny Orbison's keeper for a 6-3 K-Town lead. Then with 1 minute left in the game, Central still had time to win it. Quarterback Tim Gore to Tommy Homick on the screen pass. He fumbles after a hard hit. Taurus Johnson picks it up for Kannapolis. He returns it all the way, 26 yards. That sealed the win for Kannapolis. And the beat goes on in K-Town as they win it 13-3. And East Rowan has beaten Northwest Quebec.
Brown Wonders of Kannapolis, old K-Town. This is the visiting team. Hey, they're doing that Clemson rock thing, huh? In a weird kind of way, knocking hits. First quarter, James Johnson, the Wonders, scoop it up, the botched handoff, and run it at 6 yards. Make it 7-0 K-Town. Still in the first, Vernon Thompson picked off Matt Cardine, and he would take it 36 yards. He's going for it long range. 14-0 Kannapolis. The Mustangs on their last legs. 21-0 Brown at the break. 3rd quarter, Wonders quarterback Isaac Tyndall. Hand off to Tyrone Washington. Fumble, but he fumbles forward. That's where you want to put it. Pitch down the end zone. Vernon Thompson gets it. 28-0. And folks, at this point of the game, it was what you call your blowout. Because the final score read 42-0. Also clever. Harden Wonders. And our Dan Evans tells us who was ringing in the end.
Concord and A.L. Brown. More than just a football game, it's a tradition. And the 65th annual Battle of the Bell would be a game of big hits. And not to mention big plays, like this 2nd quarter touchdown pass from Kannapolis' Sean Allen to Deron Ford. This touchdown made it 14-6 Wonders and was the 3rd touchdown of the half, more than 70 yards in length. And A.L. Brown had the pride of ringing their bell, which they won a year ago. But Concord would have some big plays of their own, like this 4th down conversion from Chad Sloop to Marty Barnhart down to the 1-foot line. They would plunge in from that 1 foot out and convert on a 2-point play, and it was tied up at 14 at the half. Unlike last year's contest, which was pretty much decided by the half, this game still had plenty of meaningful football left, namely home field advantage for the playoffs, bragging rights for the Bell, and also a champion or co-champion, the South Piedmont Conference. things wouldn't be much of a blast for Kannapolis in the second half because Maurice Kennedy would start rushing the ball 201 yards on the night, and this 7-yard touchdown put the Spiders up for good. Then it was Cortez Robinson's time to start to grind the ball out. Take a look at this brutal run. He takes the entire secondary for an 18-yard gain. Then in the fourth quarter, he would cement the Spider win with a 7-yard touchdown as the Spiders are victorious 35-14. Dan Evans, football, Friday night.
So Concord a winner, and they win the...
Had a very, very tough assignment tonight.
Wait, can I say something? Delano called this one. He
That's
called
right.
the uptick. Can I say that? Yes.
They were on the road taking on 11-0 High Point Andrews, ranked #1 in the 3A. Early on, no go for both teams. A.L. Brown missed on 4th down, and they came back. They missed on the field goal. Andrews' next possession, quarterback DJ Vanderhall, intercepted by Gene Rivers, and he flowed down to the 24-yard line.
Runs wild.
Yes, he does. Then it was Sean Allen. A.L. Brown scored on a 1-yard quarterback sneak, 7-0 Kannapolis at halftime. Second half, Bobby Lawson broke away for a 13-yard run as he was tackled out of bounds, but just a few plays later, he scored from 1 yard out, 14-0 Kannapolis, smelling the upset. Andrews' final opportunity to get something started looked strong when Ronnie Whitworth scampered for 25 yards. But on 4th and goal from the 4-yard line, the pass from Vanderhall knocked down Paul. It's a shutout. It's a shutout upset. I called it in the sports office. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I said, Bruce Harden and the boys are going to pull off the upset against the #1 team, and they did so.
Never a doubt whatsoever.
A.L. Brown 7-4. Used to better things, but tonight they met in the round 2 of the playoffs for 3A. Our Dan Evans has the story from Kannapolis. Will the wonders ever cease? Dan says they did tonight.
Kannapolis and Forest Hills took to the gridiron with hopes of meeting the Central Concord winner, and this would be an emotional contest. First quarter, 4th and inches, the Yellow Jackets on their own 41, and they decided to go for it. Anthony McNeely would bust it for 59 yards, the only score of the half. 6-0 Yellow Jackets, and McNeely undoubtedly feeling the pressure of this contest. During the half, the Wonders pep squad started to do that voodoo that they do. They called the touchdown dance, and on a 4th and goal situation, they called for a timeout. And even with that timeout, the Yellow Jackets couldn't stop the obvious. Student body straight ahead, the PAT was good, 7-6 Wonders. It stayed that way going into the 4th, and that's when a Forest Hill coach summed up the situation.
We're going to take the thing in, score, and that's what we're going to do is score, and we'll win the football game.
And senior fullback Kevin Hubbard must have been listening. 3rd and inches, he bounces off right tackle. Look at the body control. The big guy is gone. Touchdown, 34 yards, and it was 12-7 Forest Hills. And after stopping A.L. Brown on consecutive drives, number 12, Eric Leak, summed up the victory. He's gone for the touchdown, and Deion Sanders, eat your heart out. Forest Hills would win 18-7, but they would not finish the game without losing a major part of their offense. With about a minute remaining, a fight broke out, and the same person who scored the last touchdown, Eric Leak, was thrown out of the contest, and he will not be eligible to play next week. Dan Evans, football, Friday night.
And there you see the final score.
Our Charlie Frederick has all the highlights. Kannapolis and Statesville, 2 schools with proud football traditions, met tonight in K-Town before a crowd that was diminished by an early evening rain. A wet ball may have caused this problem for Kannapolis. The snap over the head of punter Isaac Tyndall. He was finally run out of bounds deep in Wonder territory. 2 plays later, Statesville cashed in on the Kannapolis mistake. Senior fullback Sean Blackwell up the middle, and the Greyhounds were off and running 7-0. Kannapolis marched right back down the field, their best drive of the night, but the Statesville defense shut the door at the 1-yard line with a great goal line stand. Statesville dominated the rest of the way, but the Greyhounds were hurt by 2 interceptions, this one by the Wonders' A.J. Lott. In the 3rd quarter, Statesville put together a long drive with plenty of misdirection plays. Mark Fernster on the reverse here for a big gain. That set up a touchdown for Von Connor that made it 13-0 Statesville midway through the 3rd quarter.
It was a frustrating night for Kannapolis quarterback Sean Allen. This pass was deflected at the line of scrimmage and then ricocheted off the head of the official. X-rays showed nothing. The final, Statesville 13, Kannapolis nothing. Charlie Frederick reporting, yes, Mr. Official, I deserve a flag for that comment for football Friday night.
Let's find out more as our Clint Wiles has the story in the Battle of the Bell.
Special in the air when Concord meets A.L. Brown. But in the first half, the only special play was Jeremy Cook's interception. Meanwhile, Concord's defense was up to the task. Otis Patterson with the denial. And at the end of the first half, there was no score. Second half, Brown's Jake Sechler connected on this field goal, and they led 3-0. Quinteris Brown juggled, then controlled this interception for Brown, but they couldn't convert. Then deep in Concord territory, Anthony Gray ready to pass. The ball slipped out of his hands. He recovered in the end zone from the safety, and Brown led 5-0. That was all that Brown needed. Concord coach E.Z. Smith graciously handed over the bell. The Wonders advanced to the state playoffs, and the Spiders finished with only one loss, but are knocked out of the playoff picture. Clint Wiles, Football Friday Night.
Oh, and I talked to E.Z. Smith tonight. What a class program. He's still got a smile on his face after a great unbeaten season. The only loss, Delano, and they're 5th ranked, and they still have to stay home. Kannapolis goes on. Let's fire up that TV screen. All right. The Brown Wonders came in on this cool night to China Grove in South Rowan, where they put in some extra bleachers. Now, quarterback Sean Allen hands the number 3 Kendall to Haney. And Haney is going 64 yards for the touchdown, Kannapolis. Later, quarterback Ken Sides says, I got my running back Chris Kodish for a 10-yard TD. Made it 7-all. Look at that crowd being at 8,000 extra bleachers. A.L. Brown, quarterback Sean Allen again to Tron Brown as a 3-yard touchdown after the drive, make it 14-7. And then Raider quarterback Sean Allen, 6 yards on to Clint Ryder. But A.L. Brown's going to win this with the upset win on the road in China Grove. Brown Wonders come away a winner tonight by the final score of 31-23 as A.L. Brown now 2-1, South Rowan
1-0. Clint, the skipper Wiles, has the story on Football Friday nights.
Good field position. Let's set a tempo right off the bat. All together now. All together. Right return. Ready? Sit. Hit.
A.L. Brown's journey into Greyhound Hollow was a difficult one early in this contest. Statesville hit pay dirt early in the first quarter. William Combs to Courtney Brown, a profitable combination. The Hounds led 7-0. But Brown's second quarter ground attack took center stage. Nick Maddox's bruising gallop paved the way to a Brown score. The game was tied at 7 until Statesville's William Combs spotted Bobby Graham open in the end zone for a 14-7 halftime lead. The Hounds were barking. Second half was a big play half for both teams. Brown's Nick Maddox took the pitch and rumbled 40 yards, stopping only to elude 2 Greyhound tacklers, and then did an acrobatic dive into the end zone. The judge only gave him a 6. We thought he deserved a 10. At any rate, Brown tied the game at 14. But just when you thought Statesville was down, they erupted for a big play of their own. Combs to Kevin McCall. Some poor tackling by A.L. Brown, and McCall tiptoed his way down the sidelines all the way to the Brown 1-yard line. That led to a Statesville touchdown, and they led 21-14. But before you could say that dog will hunt, Brown scored again. Tron Brown, that is. He pulled his way into the end zone, made it 21-all, and then Brown's defense applied the pressure. William Kraft scooped up the desperation punt attempt, and that set up this Tron Brown short touchdown plunge. 28-21, Brown took the lead. Down the stretch, Coach Bruce Harden milked the clock for every second he could. A.L. Brown with a comeback victory over feisty Statesville, 28-21. Clint Wiles football Friday night.
Ladies and gentlemen, News Channel 3 Zones.
With revenge on their minds, our Charlie Frederick was there and has the story.
West Charlotte coach Tommy Knotts didn't need to say a whole lot tonight to get his Lions fired up to play A.L. Brown. On the opening drive, West Charlotte marched it down the field behind the passing of Keith Matkins, who goes here to R.J. Jackson. A few plays later, Thomas Fleming got the points for a quick 6-0 West Charlotte advantage. By the middle of the second quarter, the Lions' lead had increased to 19-0 after Matkins snuck it over into the end zone. Late in the first half, Kannapolis threatened to make it interesting. Tron Brown's touchdown cut the West Charlotte lead to 19-7. But West Charlotte then marched all the way down the field in the final 30 seconds before the half. Matkins connected with Jamad Woods as the horn sounded to end the first half of play, with West Charlotte leading 25-7. The Lions added some insurance in the fourth quarter on Rashad Hare's touchdown, and West Charlotte went on to clobber Kannapolis 42-7. The Lions remain unbeaten at 9-0. Charlie Frederick reporting for Football Friday Night.
4-1 record into tonight's game with A.L. Brown. A game which is the first and last meeting between these two teams ever. Our Clint the Skipper Wiles has the story.
It sounded like an A.L. Brown game, but something just didn't look right. Besides this guy, it seemed like the Wonders offense was on the blink. Or maybe it was just that North Surrey's defense was prepared. Nevertheless, it took Brown 1.5 quarters to finally hit pay dirt. A 57-yard touchdown run by Nick Maddox, and A.L. Brown led 7-0 at the end of the first half. Second half, the Wonders asserted themselves quickly. Time after time, they pounded the ball forward for positive yardage, eating up almost the entire third quarter. And then early in the fourth, Sean Allen found Nick Maddox for his second touchdown of the game. Maddox wrestled the ball away from the North Surrey defender and gave the Wonders a 14-0 lead, and that was your final. Once again, all things are back to normal in K-Town. Well, almost all things. Clint Wiles football Friday night.
Rivalries. Now, this is one game where you can definitely do that. Concord and A.L. Brown hooked up tonight for the traditional Battle of the Bell in Cabarrus County. Chuck, the Chuck Wagon Denton, has the highlights.
In this world, there are 7 wonders. In Kannapolis, there's just one. Close ball game early, but late in the first quarter, Spider Ryan Herlocker rips the ball away from Ivar Johnson. He chugs and lugs down the sideline for the early Spider score. On the very next series, Adrian Archie says, "I'll take that." He intercepts Sean Allen. Spider defense spinning its web. A few plays later, Jamie Scott shows he's a wonder of his own. 22 yards for the touchdown. Just like that, Concord's up 14-0. Head coach Bruce Harden not feeling so wonderful. But early in the third quarter, Kannapolis has a chance to score, but William Kraft is intercepted in the end zone by David Hamilton. And with a 20-point lead, the Spiders would look to continue carving up the Wonder defense. And the man to get the call, Jamie Scott from 4 yards out. Spiders up 27-0. A.L. Brown feeling the loss of a big game.
Guys just played a great game, and we're very proud of them. Tell them to let them know. I'll be looking forward to talking to you.
Head coach Easy Smith, hoarse but victorious. Hanging out with the Prez in Kannapolis. This is Chuck Denton for Football Friday Night.
As the Blue Devils and Wonders battled for first place.
This was a huge game. Both teams undefeated in the conference. It's the battle for first. The home team struck first with this Moneldon run for a score. Mooresville had the 6-0 lead. Kannapolis answered that one. Chris Carter this way and that way. Then breaking all the way down the sideline. No one could catch him, not even the official. A.L. Brown takes the lead 7-6. The Blue Devils came right back. Quarterback Patrick Marsh on the keeper. That makes it 12-7. Mooresville trouble getting those extra points. Watch this Chris Winford run. Amazing, dodging the Wonder defense. Mooresville would score again on the last play of the first half. Doug Hayline splits the uprights for 3. That made it 15-7 Mooresville. Time now for our Football Friday night halftime extravaganza.
You know, I don't often get to stop and talk a little bit about my own high school football career. Well, that's because I didn't have one. I really wasn't very good, so I ran track.
Okay, enough silliness. Back to the game. Third quarter, everything came apart for Mooresville. It started with Chris Carter adding another touchdown. That made it 15-13. Kannapolis picked up a 2-point conversion. They tied it up at 15. Then there was a turnover. A.L. Brown got the ball back. Carter put it in the end zone again. 22-15. Another turnover gives it back to Kannapolis. Drew Mayer hits Andre Allison. He flips it to Carter. Carter scores. What else is new? It's now 29-15. The Wonders are running away with it. Fourth quarter. Do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Couldn't avoid that. Rock Johnson adds another score. The Wonders win it big, 43-23. David Wisdom, Football Friday night.
I smell you.
The Blue Devils at Kannapolis tied at 7. A.L. Brown looking to go ahead. Brandon Franklin hits Josh Reeves. Big number 5, so they'll take it in. 14-7 Wonders. Mooresville strikes right back. Chip Pickard hits Ryan Turner for 34 yards. Oh, thing of beauty right here. Kannapolis, however, will get this win tonight, 24-13. How about the media?
Meanwhile, 2 more Cabarrus County teams met just up the road at A.L. Brown as the Wonders faced J.M. Robinson for the very first time. Heavy rain earlier in the day turned the contest into a grinded-out affair with Major Burton leading the Bulldog attack on the ground with 117 yards and Bobby Ratliff driving the Wonder offense with 97 tough rushing yards. The defenses were the story in the first half, with both teams struggling to move the ball consistently. And Kannapolis took a 12-7 lead into the locker room at halftime. More defense was in store in the third quarter with jarring tackles and tough play in the secondary, setting the tone for the second half. Ratliff put the game away in the fourth quarter with a 4-yard touchdown plunge that propelled the Wonders into a second-round 3A matchup with Gastonia Ashbrook.
2 good hard-nosed football teams playing and getting an good old mud bowl and getting after each other. And, a lot of credit to J.M. Robinson, Coach Paroli, a class act. The kids play hard. They compete the whole way. 45's a load, man. I'm glad, we don't have to keep looking at him and everything. But, we're looking forward to moving on next week, and I'm very proud of our kids. A lot of people didn't think we'd win 8 or 9 ball games this year. We won 9, and we won't get to number 10 next week.